Every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is that time of the week. One of our favorites. We get a chat with Utah Mammoth General Manager Bill Armstrong.
It's time to hear from the General Manager of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong, on your exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
So good.
Great. New Year's has started. You guys started the year 4-1-1 points in 4 straight games. Not a bad way to start the new year.
That's a great way to start.
and you got to start it with the Winter Classic announcement. It's an amazing start to a 2026.
I'm telling you, people are going to be so excited about that. It's unbelievable in so many different ways, but you know, it's just basically packing 50,000 Mammoth fans into one spot, tailgating, and it's a phenomenal almost weekend, you know. So it's going to be exciting times for Utah.
Well, and there's one thing that we know about Ryan Smith and SEG. They don't do anything half-A, and I got to imagine that thing is going to be quite the event.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable with the mountains in the background. It's going to be special. So we can't wait. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Hey, Bill, I got to catch up with you at that announcement for a minute, and I want to just kind of capture your perspective on this, if I can.
Yep.
You've been around the NHL for a lot of years, and you've seen announcements, and you've seen communities surrounding these announcements. When you sat up there and you're on that kind of concourse area and you're overlooking the Timpanogos Range and you're overlooking Rice-Eccles, and you've got the commissioner of the NHL and you've got the owners, Ashley and Ryan, and then in those front rows, you've got every dignitary from the governor all the way through Senate, and you've got every reporter, and you've got all of this surrounding support. Is that unique in the NHL, what we were witnessing just on this Winter Classic announcement? Or do you get that level of community, dignitary, ownership, and commission support everywhere in the NHL?
Well, I think you don't. I think we have it because it's, you know, the governor shows up. He's a huge Mammoth fan, you know, and they've done that announcement, you know, before on the TV at the game. You know, they came to Utah because of that exact same reason that you just talked about. You know, everybody from the ownership, everybody in, communities in, and the view in the back of the mountains, you know, coming out of the stadium. It's just beautiful. And, you know, that's what Utah does. You know, a few years ago, Utah didn't even have an NHL team. You know, Ryan and Ashley obviously stepped up with SEG and brought it, you know, and they've done everything first class from the start to the end. And I think, you know, the commissioner in the National Hockey League has a lot of faith, you know, in Ryan and Ashley and how they do business. And he wanted to be there to announce it right in Utah. And it was just a phenomenal day for the Mammoth to be able to have that many people and important people show up for that announcement. So it was it's a special thing, and I don't believe you get that in every other NHL city.
How much, because I'm sure a lot of these guys grew up in the middle of nowhere, Canada, playing on an outdoor, you know, rink somewhere. How much does this resonate with the players? How excited did they get about these opportunities?
Well, it's a time, you know, not only do you get to play the outdoor game, which, you know, you grew up on the ponds as a kid and the backyard rinks. So there's something special about playing hockey outdoors, number one. Number two, it's very family-oriented, the event, because the night before you're bringing your family in and you're basically, you know, skating on the ice. You know, you're having hot chocolate outside. And, you know, and then the day of, it's a big tailgate for everybody, and, you know, along with your family. They're part of that. So there's a lot of family atmosphere. Players just love it. It's a special time, and it draws a ton of attention to your team and your players. It's a big day. So for us, you know, we couldn't be more proud to be involved in that. The NHL just doesn't give that out to any franchise. You know, you gotta be an up-and-coming franchise and a really good, stable franchise with great ownership, you know, and a spectacular place to have it before they'll do that.
Okay, so I got to tell you, Bill, because I'm an NHL fan, but I'm also a Bill Armstrong fan. I actually I circle that St. Louis game.
Oh, yeah.
That's my rivalry game.
We're
Bill.
all about St. Louis, those games.
That's my rivalry game, and you stuck 4 on them, and you stuck a 4-2 win on them, and that's a really good win. What did that win mean to you? What did it mean to the team?
Well, I was walking into the rink that day in the Delta Center, and I put my head up, and one of the players from the St. Louis Blues was there, and it was one of the guys I helped draft. You know, he put his head up and he smiled at me, and I said, "Go easy on us." And he said, "Well, I'm looking to give it to you tonight."
He knows. Yeah, he knows.
He knew. But I kind of little, competitive chuckle and smile as I rolled past him. We're going to kill you.
Yes.
There's always that competitiveness in me, because I knew in the back of my mind that all my old staff was watching, and there's that competitive vibe too. So it's good.
So homestand continues. Toronto Maple Leafs come into town. They're on a 10-game point streak. They're killing it. What kind of matchup are we seeing here?
Ooh, they are killing it. They got players on all 4 lines that can produce some points. They are hot. They just went and beat the number 1 team in the National Hockey League last night. So for us, this is a big game. We got to win the home games. We got to find ways to get points. There's no bigger game. I said from the start of the season, every game is like Game 7 for us. There's one game that we need to play, and that's the game tonight against Toronto. It's Game 7 for us. It's going to be an intense battle. We got to take it to them, and the Leafs have been very, very good of late. One of the better teams in the National Hockey League. It's a great challenge for us.
So, Bill, I was just looking at the kind of the future for the Mammoth here, and you got a lot of home games, and there's a lot of exciting things. And I don't know if our listeners, even the NHL fans that have started to buy in and coming out to the Mammoth games, understand how the postseason structure works. And it's not overly intricate, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they take 3 qualifiers from each division in each conference. So in each conference, There's 2 divisions, which means there's 3 guaranteed spots in the Central Division in which the Mammoth play. And it just so happens to be that the Mammoth currently reside in the toughest division in the toughest conference in the sport. So it's almost like those 3 guaranteed qualifiers are Colorado at 74 points, which nobody's even breached 74 other than Colorado, Dallas at 63, Minnesota at 61, and then you've got Utah who's fighting in there for the wild card. So help people understand, because as I'm looking at it, Utah is just a hair outside the wild card and has played the most road games of anybody in the NHL. So explain to people where Utah currently sits and how you feel about it.
Well, I feel good. We got, a ton of home games this month. And we've kind of, people don't understand, when you play road games, there's a lot of miles traveled. You're getting tired, and so at one point we had played 8 more home games than some teams in the National Hockey League. To play more away games, you got to travel. You're on the road every day, on an airplane, taking trips for 4 hours. It wears you down. It wears your team down. We've kind of put in the road miles. Now we've got, some home games here, and we've got to take advantage of them. There's some big games, coming our way with the Seattles and Dallases, and tonight against the Leafs. They're all massive games at home for us. So are we in good shape? Yes. Do we have to win those games? Yes, we do. This is a battle. This is what we talked about. Last year we talked about meaningful games, playing meaningful games. Now it's playing meaningful games and win. So this is right where we want to be. And this is like, we're a young team. At the same time, if we can approach it like it's Game 7 every game and just concentrate, find ways to get points out every game, we're in good shape. I will tell you, behind the scenes with our team, and you break down all the analytics, they're all green. They're all in a good spot. And you can see that in one simple thing. We're +6. We've scored 6 more goals than we've given up. And that translates, to +18 or +16 at the end of the year if you go over the 82 schedule. If you're +15 in goal differential at the end of the year, you're guaranteed 100% of the times that you're going to get in the playoffs.
Jeez.
So there's some good numbers behind the scenes for us. When we first started doing this and we were in the rebuild, and our numbers were completely red. Like, it was depressing looking at our analytics behind the scenes. And now you get in there and they're all green, and there's good stuff. Now we got to win. We got to find ways to win. There's good numbers. There's a healthy team, that takes the ice every night, ready to go. And now we got to take advantage of those home games.
So I want to go back and just kind of get into the mindset of an NHL player, because I've discovered that you guys have long memories, especially over a couple months, because, McBain had just been sitting back and waiting, and he knew who injured Cooley when the last time you guys played St. Louis, and he waited and finally got his opportunity.
My man.
Is that pretty common for guys to be like, no, it may take a couple months, but I'm going to get you?
Well, I can't really comment on that. I didn't know really what that was about. That's amazing that was about. Now that you say that, maybe they could have had a talk in warm up or something, and I think
I'm sure that's
they
what
were
it was.
unhappy about something. But they were unhappy about something, and I think they were able to work it out within the first 30 seconds of the game, and I think the crowd was entertained.
That was, you know what?
And I think the point was made.
This is not your first rodeo. You handled that extremely well. That was well done by you.
To talk it out and work it out, and I think Torpachenko and Bain will maybe be friends now, but they were able to kind of work it out in the first 30 seconds of the game, so it was nice.
It's crazy. But, when that McBain fist gets working, it looks like a car piston. It's just crazy.
He is. It's he's certainly not only a player that we were able to sign this summer that's going to be a key contributor to us winning a championship. Boehner's all in, physically, emotionally, and mentally. He's all in to being a Mammoth, and he plays hard every single night. So for us, he has a great respect for his teammates. That's an emotional moment, obviously that he was involved in, and he's always sticking up for his teammates. He's certainly been a huge part of our team getting to where we're at.
Speaking of that, and I think every time we have you on, we need to update the Mammoth fan, the NHL fan out there. What is the current status and update on Logan Cooley? How are things?
Well, Logan's coming back. He's healing nicely. He's done a nice job with his rehab. We're hoping, I think probably sometime after, the Olympics, he'll get back into our lineup. But so far, so good on all his rehab and his healing and all that kind of stuff. So all good news from that end. He's somebody that, he's in every day working his butt off trying to, heal up as quick as he can. But I can tell you this, we miss him. We miss his speed. We miss his passion. There's always some good news when someone gets injured because someone always steps up. And, Schmaltz he's done a great job filling the role. Taking on that center position. But we do miss Cools, and, when we do get him back in the lineup, I feel like we're going to hit our stride.
No doubt. Before we let you go, got to shout out Veggie, first goalie to win 20 games, leads the league in games played. Man, he is ever since last year and then, the end of last year going into this year, he is such a workhorse.
He is. We'd like to play him every night. I don't know if that's possible, but he does a great job in there. He really gives our team a chance to win, and he's going to have to be at his best tonight to beat the Leafs. And it's going to be a battle, but we always love going to war with Edge.
There you go.
This is a fun season, Bill.
Yeah.
This is fun. Scott and I get an opportunity to talk about this back and forth, and typically we show up for show prep and we start hammering out some NHL stuff. And this is one of those seasons you look for because we get to see the competitive spirit. I know every point is critical when we get there to the 82 and they're counting them up, looking for the 2 wild cards or looking for the guaranteed 3 spots out of the Central. We just know every point is critical. Even a middle of the season pre-All-Star type performance, you've got to see these points. So we love every step of it, Bill.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm going to start with a full head of hair, and by the end, I'm going to have lost all my hair. Could be completely bald by the end of the season, but it is entertaining. It is. You're right. It's going to come down. We're either getting in by a point or out by a point. Every point matters.
Well, you get used to it after a while. The bald, it's not it's fine.
Yeah, Bill, we're bald and happy.
Yeah,
We're doing okay.
It's all good.
Our wives still kind of act like they know us. In
Yeah,
public.
kind of. Yeah. Hey, Bill, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks for hanging out with us. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, my friends. Take care.
See you, Bill.
There he is. Bill Armstrong. Good man.
When I say it's close, it's razor edge thin.
Yeah.
Right now the Kings would have a tiebreaker over the Mammoth. I don't know if the Mammoth are going to catch the other three in the Central. You look at the lead that they've got. And I'm not saying it's insurmountable, but it is 12, 13 points to the next closest. They've separated themselves, and they could catch up, and they could get one of the three guaranteed out of their division. I look at it realistically, and I say, wait a second. Okay, who is the real competition? Who do you have to beat to make sure that you get that full 2-point swing? You keep them from getting any points, and you get that 4-point swing essentially on those teams. And those teams right now are the Seattle Kraken, the San Jose Sharks, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Nashville Predators. I mean, and there's a few other in there, but those are your primary targets right now.
Well, and if you go back to last year this time, I don't know where St. Louis was, but remember that last third of the season when they caught fire and came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And just barreled their way into the playoffs. And so you anticipate somebody's going to get hot that you weren't necessarily counting on, and hopefully it's Utah. Hopefully it's the Mammoth or that team. Mm-hmm. But you do feel like somebody's going to string together some wins, and I think it very well could be the Mammoth just based on their schedule alone because it was so lopsided and so road heavy early in the season. And as this thing balances out, this team can take advantage of that home ice.
They could, and with that in mind, you've got the Seattle Kraken on your ice this Saturday. That's the game. Circle it. You're going to be able to learn a lot about who this team is because they identify it more than we identify it.
Yeah.
They know that's a 4-point swing for Seattle. Take 2 away from them, give yourself 2, and keep trying to bury the Kraken because they're hot on the hills. They're looking for that wild card spot. And you got to keep them at bay. But all 4 of these home games remaining are critical. Yeah. But there are some that you can do more damage with.
Yep. All right, Hans and Scotty, we'll go to break a little early. There's a lot of topics we need to get to on Sports Roulette coming up next. Mandy's hanging out with us. We're live here at Sound Sleep. All you have to do is call 801-285-9731. That's 801-285-9731. And a free sleep screening, free sleep consultation. You'll know exactly what you're dealing with because a lot of people spend, thousands of dollars to go into a hospital or lab to get this test. You can get it done at home for free.
Yeah, you get it done. You do it that night. You bring it back the next day. We give you the results right then. So some of these ones you do in a hospital, you're waiting weeks, sometimes months to hear back or even to get in to get one done.
Yeah, there's no doubt on that. And you get that information, and then it says, okay, well, guess what? You were not breathing for minutes on end last night, so we got to get this taken care of. The CPAP machine does some really good things, but let's be honest, nobody really wants one of those. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this oral appliance.
Yeah, so we can fit you with a custom fit mouth guard that will position your jaw, open that airway naturally, and get you sleeping better. Most of our patients, those, like I said earlier, those first couple of weeks, they're noticing that they're dreaming more. So there's another sign. If you're not dreaming at night, you're not getting into that deep, restful sleep. Waking up a little bit easier, not having to snooze the alarm so much. So.
How do you – I know the sleep test and then you got the sleep screening mm-hmm. and then you got the consultation. Mm-hmm. But how do you know that somebody really does need this appliance? Like what are the things that okay, this person needs this appliance?
Well, so a lot of it, on their subjective symptoms, why are they coming in? But, too, the data on the sleep test. So our sleep test will tell us how long you stop breathing, how many times you stop breathing that night, what your oxygen levels were, your heart rate. It gives us your body position as well. So it gives us an overall score of how many times you stop breathing. It also tells us how many times you stop snoring. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's fun to share with people.
So this equipment tells you all those things.
Yeah.
All those things. And it's so easy. It's just straps around your chest. You got a little oximeter on your finger.
It's not intrusive.
No, not at all.
I know
easy to do.
I know there's a lot of people that have gotten the test done at like a hospital and they can't sleep, like because they're uncomfortable, and that really throws off a lot of the results on what they're trying to work with. Yeah. You get that oral appliance, and it makes your life so much better in terms of the quality of sleep. But people don't realize how much that affects other aspects, like high blood pressure, diabetes, or onset dementia. These are all things related to poor sleep.
Yeah, they are. A lot of people die in their sleep from sleep apnea, untreated sleep apnea, because it's really hard on your heart. You know, you stop breathing at night, your body wakes up, your heart starts racing, and it's overworking itself throughout the night. So it's really not good for you.
Like if you've dealt with that and you wake up, that moment where you feel like your heart just pounding, you're like, you know, that I mean, it's shocking.
It
and
is.
It can really mess with you, and you feel that heart just thumping. I mean, that's doing damage there.
Exactly.
And you don't have to do that.
No.
This device can help you.
No.
It can help alleviate, it can help eliminate a lot of these things. And it just starts with the free screening and the free consultation. Yeah. We'll give you the device. We'll send you home with it. You put it on at night in your bed. We'll get those numbers, and they get the idea. And we make it really easy too, Mandy, because there are plenty of locations. Somebody's going to be close enough to you that you can drive over and grab this equipment.
Yeah, 6 locations across the valley. We've also got 2 in Las Vegas, if anybody's in
Oh, really?
too.
You're down in Vegas now, huh?
Yeah. So
give
us a call. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose. I mean, just come and find out.
801-285-9731. Call right now. Mandy's here to help you out. 801-285-9731. It's Sound Sleep right here on The Zone.
The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to spin the wheel here in just a moment, but before we do that, let's hand out some more tickets.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the 3. He hits! Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jazz Ticket Tuesday. We do it every hour, all day long, every Tuesday, right here on The Zone. Right now, 801-575-ZONE. Caller number 12, you'll win a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the pesky Timberwolves coming up Tuesday, January 20th at the Delta Center. All right, with that, let's spin that wheel.
BYU keeps the heat on.
Man, do they ever. 5 signings that I think are going to play a huge role in the direction of this BYU Cougar football program. And I'll name them in order of what I see. And I would say number 1 is Cade Uluwave. He is the linebacker transfer out of Cal that I think brings a lot of experience. He brings a lot of tackles. I'll give you some evidence of that. He's been at Cal for 3 seasons. Started his first season, racked up 67 tackles, 38 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions. That was back in 2023. Just a freshman. 2024, 71 tackles. He ended up with a couple of pass deflections. He had a sack, he had an interception, and he was a big playmaker. In 2025, and by the way, we're talking about Cal.
Yeah.
It's Cal.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of talent do you got and what kind of numbers and plays can you make? Well, somebody's got to make the tackles. This guy was making all of the tackles.
All of the tackles, yeah.
Last year, 2025, he ended up with 100. He ended up with 100 tackles. He ended up with 100 tackles. He had 4 pass deflections, 3 sacks, and was an absolute beast defensively for Cal. So there were just a lot of big moments for this kid. BYU just signed him. And now he comes in where you're losing Jack Kelly. Cade Uluwave can come in and he can supplement and support new a new and freshman that's trying to transition in Nusi Tamaipu. He can help support that growth, or you can move Cade Uluwave into the middle, and you can get some different usages out of Isaiah Glasker, or you can get different usages out of Sialiaser. It just does so many things. He's very versatile. They went and got another linebacker in Jake Clifton. Jake Clifton comes out of Kansas State. So he's 6'2", 225 pounds. He's out of Oklahoma, and he's another linebacker transfer. And then you get 3 offensive linemen that I think can help find a way to help you. You get Zach Yamamuchi out of Stanford. You get Paki Finau out of the University of Washington, and you get Junior Sia out of Utah State. I think that Finau out of Washington could be an instant contributor. He's 6'5", he's 320 pounds. He's an absolute monster, and he could possibly work in and give you some type of depth to try to figure out what you're going to do with Isaiah Jotta's position, because Isaiah Jotta now graduates, moves on. You do keep Andrew Gentry, and you keep the core of your interior by keeping Bruce Mitchell, your center, which was a big keep, and then Kyle Saforchuk, who I think will work into a starter and potentially at the guard position. But you still have Leusa and others that you can transition to the outside, and with Finau, you can create depth. But I want to get your thoughts on Junior Sia because you saw him.
That was an offensive line that gave up 39 sacks last year.
Okay.
And
is that what they ended up with?
Yeah.
39 sacks.
And, yeah.
Holy cow, that's a lot of sacks.
Near the top 10 in TFLs allowed.
Okay.
Now
did he start all season?
No,
or did
he came in midway through and replaced a player and then played left tackle. I just think he needs to be in a situation. I think TJ Woods will be very good for him.
Okay.
The frame is there. The size is there. He just needs some good, solid coaching and a good culture around him, a good offensive line culture. And I think he's got a chance to be really good.
Well, then that gives you, 2 potential rotators, and Junior Sia, who I think obviously will be a project, but does have upside.
Yeah,
and
he's got experience too. So
that's the heat that BYU's keeping on. There's 2 things I want to see now: running back depth and quarterback depth. Because you lose McKay Hillstead back to Utah State.
Yep.
You're losing a freshman that was in the 3 deep. I think he's headed on a mission.
Oh, that's right.
And now, your depth starts to really thin out at BYU at the quarterback position. So you might need some help there, and you definitely need some running back depth. But now you're just getting picky. Now you just sound like
Now you're just greedy.
Yeah, you just sound greedy.
You're the kid that got the PlayStation and the new phone for Christmas, and you're like, but I also wanted an iPad.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what you're doing. Well, that's what I'm doing.
That's all right. You should. If you're in a spot you can do that, go for it.
It is a couple of the key areas that you look for. And I know that BYU has got to work on that running back depth.
And that is, you talk about it being a little bit greedy, but honestly, if you can find somebody to take a little bit of the pressure off LJ Martin, and if you look at, we went through this last week, if you look at the carries he had and compared to every other running back on the team, the only person that came relatively close to him in carries was Bear Bachmeier. And if you get a second running back that can give him a little bit of help, can give a little bit of the pressure off Bear Bachmeier as well in the running game, that would go a long, long way. I think that's actually a really critical add for BYU if they can find that.
Hey, when I said that quarterback was going on a mission, and you kind of winced a little bit, is he not? Is Emerson?
No,
Gilman?
I was just spacing the name. I couldn't think of the name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Emerson,
No, you're right.
I think, but I have not seen or heard the announcement. But Emerson Gilman was the freshman out of Bountiful.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak out of turn, but the undercurrent buzz was that he's a big deal.
Yeah, and he just, in fact, he's going to Sao Paulo, Brazil, Interlagos mission.
Okay, I just didn't want to be wrong on that.
No, he showed his opening up of his mission call online. So,
Do we have any news on Trayson Bourget?
Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, Emerson Gilman, yeah.
That's right?
Yeah,
Okay.
You're right. He was, by the way, he's a bountiful kid.
I felt like I almost spoke out of turn. The buzz last year during the season was this kid's really good.
And the thing is, he's heavily under-recruited. And I'm close to a lot of the coaches at Bountiful just because, my kid plays there.
Yeah.
And they kept telling me all the time, like, why this kid isn't why isn't he getting the love? He should be getting offers from everywhere. And he led Bountiful to a state championship, not last year, but the year before. And everybody was all like, this kid needs to be recruited. He ends up going to BYU, and then all of a sudden he gets into that system, and no pressure to play, just learning the system. And yeah, all the results are like, this kid's good, really good.
So that was the buzz, and I feel bad asking because you see the big names and the critical names. Have we heard anything from Trayson Bourget?
Yeah, I've not.
Either have I. And that's somebody, if he is coming back, that's somebody that you could feel pretty good about giving him a spring ball number 2 label, and maybe a fall camp number 2 label, and see if he can be the support because he's been in the system for a bit. But I think that you got to continue to broaden your horizons.
Well, look, Bear Bachmeyer would, put himself through hell and back last year. And if you can develop a little bit of depth there, because can you really count on him going 12 games?
Oh, Bear Bachmeyer?
Excuse me, yeah.
No. You'd want to, but you'd want to be able to count on him, but you can't. Although I have seen an increase in quarterback health.
You know what? You're right.
The last couple of years, quarterback health has been – seems like quarterbacks have been a little bit more available and a little bit more reliable than in years past.
Because didn't the kid that went to Tulane, Retzloff, didn't he play? He played all 12 the year before.
He did. He played all 12 in 2025, but there was a minute there where he was sat.
Yeah.
But I think it was performance-based, not injury-based. And then he played every game in 2024. With BYU. And remember, I did the study. I was actually going to do the study for this year's Big 12 season, but 2024, of the 16 teams that had starting quarterbacks, I think it was 12 that ran the full season or all available but one game. And the other 4, 1 or 2 was injury, and then 1 or 2, like KJ Jefferson, was benched because of ability. So I feel like quarterbacks are showing a lot more stability. But still, to your point, you got to have the guy. Now, what's interesting, though, with Gilman going on a mission and Ryder Lyons continues to be committed to BYU.
Yeah, and I don't know how long he's on a mission.
Well, but that's the word is he'll spend 2026 on a mission and be 2027 available.
Okay.
That's kind of that was kind of from his mouth.
So it's the 1-year mission thing, yeah.
I've never seen that clarified, but that was kind of from him. And I know he's currently engaged in MTC and mission training, so he is planning to head out. But it kind of felt like his point was, I'll miss 2026, but I'll be ready for 2027. Okay, well, if that's the case, then you really have 2026 that maybe Trayson Bourget is your backing, and maybe you get one other guy. But you're going to have Ryder Lyons, Bear Bachmeyer, and then Emerson, who will be back 1 year after
28
Ryder Lyons has the year. You feel like you've got some quarterback rotation in the system right
which
now.
Makes it hard to recruit for 25 or 26, because you've got, like, who wants to come in when they know that Bear Bachmeyer's a sophomore and you got, Ryder Lyons coming down the pipeline. Like, it's not stacking in your favor. So it may actually work against you to fill this one gap here.
Right, and that's why you don't get in the Sam Levitt sweepstakes, because I think Sam might be kind of a one and done on the sweepstakes, maybe. It just depends on how he performs. But you're not looking at a long-term solution. You're looking at a stopgap fill for 2026, and then you'll need a little bit of repetition support, experience support as you're getting Ryder Lyons up to be your backup quarterback behind Bear Bachmeier for his senior season before you then or final season before you hand it off to Ryder Lyons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hope. I'm sure that's kind of the hope and plan. But even holding on to Ryder Lyons, if he's only missing 2026, that means Bear Bachmeier will have 27 and 28 of eligibility. So you would have Ryder Lyons that would stack behind Bear Bachmeier's 2 years of eligibility. And would Ryder Lyons be willing to stack behind Bear?
It's hard to say.
As a junior and senior.
Yeah.
Or does he stay out for a full mission term and give 26 and 27 to Bear Bachmeier, come back in 28, be his protege and backup, and be ready to take over in 29?
I mean, that's what BYU, I think, deep down would hope he would do, just because it makes their life a little bit easier.
But, if you're looking at it from Ryder Lyons' perspective, he obviously he's committed to the church and he wants to serve the church, and that's awesome in any capacity. I don't care if it's a month mission. I just don't care. If a kid's heart is open to serving the Lord and Savior and serving his church, then I'll never wrong him for it. So if he wants to serve for 2 months, go do it. I didn't serve for a single day in a mission. Go do what you need to go do and feel fulfilled in whatever capacity that you do it. I'm all in support of that.
Yeah.
But that poor kid has to look at it and say, well, nowadays you're getting 20-year-old draft picks in my position.
The clock's ticking.
I'll be 20 when I get back, and now I'm looking at running a supportive system through 28. That'll put me to 21, turning 22 when I get my first start. And so, your clock starts to run when you're that high level as Ryder Lyons. Your clock starts to run, and you're like, okay, well, what can I give to the church in support of a mission? And what can I give to myself in support of my future and my career? And we get so locked up in judgment. This is a big thing that's going on Twitter, and I've kind of been involved in this back and forth, and JT's involved in it, and Hank Smith's involved in it, and we're just kind of going back and forth in mission judgment. And I think it's a pretty bad thing. It's an ugly thing in how we get pulled into judging who serves what and when they serve and what they served and how much they did when they served or they didn't serve. So how much is Hans Olsen judged because he didn't serve a mission? So do we slap judgment on him? We got to get completely away from it. If a kid's willing to give an extra month of his youth to serve, I look at him like, man, that's awesome. Good for you. That's beautiful service. Now the church asked 2 years. The church asked 2 years, and it's like, okay, can you give us 2 years? Well, if a kid can give you 2 years, more power to you. I'm watching my son serve, and I'm just sitting here in awe. Like, my son could have been on a field and probably would have got playtime.
He very well could have started near the end of that season.
Might have started for Utah State.
Yep.
There's a good chance. And what was he doing in the meantime?
Chopping wood.
Dude was chopping wood and building fence for the Navajo Nation. Yeah. And it's like, geez, son, like I hope that's returned in blessings. I don't know if you think in it or expecting it, because I've seen kids come back from missions, and what's their blessing? Oh, well, we don't have a spot for you. You put on 50 bad pounds, and now you got a bad hip.
Yeah. And frankly, I think, look, if you were to put truth serum into Tanner Mangum, he would say, I would have no regrets about serving the mission. None whatsoever. But did it help your career? Probably not.
Probably not.
Because I think in his mind, that clock you were talking about was always in his mind. Like, I'm seeing my Elite 11 guy, Jameis Winston, he's already been in the league for 2 years. Here I am getting my first start for BYU, and that pressure of, like, I need to produce now because I need to make this. And it never really – he had, a couple of Hail Mary throws, but other than that, it just never clicked for him, and I think he was always behind the 8 ball there.
Yeah.
And some of it was self-inflicted in terms of his pressure that he put on himself because of him starting a little bit later.
Well,
And so, look, I'm the same with you. Like, I'm not judging anybody for any amount of time they've served or if they didn't serve or any of that. Right. I mean, that's between you and the big man upstairs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's service. It's service. It's not mandatory.
No.
You know, I am giving you my time. I am giving you my time. Whatever time I can give you and feel okay with, I feel like that's okay. And I'm just not going to judge a kid if he decides I can't go. You know, I've always told you, I always felt like my mission was converting myself. That was my main mission, was finding my own conversion.
Who knew the impact you had on Kalani Sitake, though? Because you were still around, helping Kalani develop into the man he is today.
Oh, my gosh. The stories I could tell you of Kalani pulling me out of so many mud puddles. That guy. And maybe I pulled him out of a mud puddle or two, but you know, I look at the way things play out, and I'm like, geez. You know, I'm grateful for the way things played out, and everybody can second guess. You know, if somebody does feel injured by their mission, at some point in their life, they're going to look back and say, I'm blessed for the time I served.
Oh, yeah. And that's
one way or the other.
And that's why I said Tanner Mangum, I guarantee, has no regrets over the mission.
Like, no. I had no rights being in football anyways. What it did is it wrapped things up for me so I could pursue whatever career I'm currently involved in now anyways.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of those moments of my life. So I look at a kid that's willing to serve for 1 month and makes a mistake on a mission and comes home. Hey, I love you.
Yep.
I love you, and thanks for the effort of it.
We're live here at Sound Sleep. Make sure to give them a call, 801-285-9731. We'll talk to Mandy on the other side. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.